Classical macroeconomics, output and employment. In this lecture, let us go ahead and let us try to understand how the classical economist would think, who are the classical economists, and how does the output and employment work in case of classicals. Now, let's try and understand, first of all, where did this term macroeconomics actually originated? So the term macroeconomics, it originated in 1930s. Okay. And, the word depression, it began in 1929. And when the world went into the Great Depression, as we call it, then during that period, people started thinking what to do, whether, what the classical said, was that right or was that wrong? And it is then in 1936, 34, that, Keynes started thinking about what to go ahead and do. And then, Keynes went ahead and Keynes gave a book which was called The General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money. So when Keynes gave this book of General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money, that is what gave rise to something which we call as the Keynesian revolution. So we went from the classical economists towards the Keynesian side of it. So Keynesian economist. Now, the earlier economists, it was Keynes only who called the earlier economists as classical. So anyone who wrote before 1936, before the period that Keynes wrote, were called classical. And anyone who wrote based on what Keynes has said was called Keynesian. Now, what is the thought process of classical economists? So according to classicals, output was always at full employment output. Now, what does it mean to have full employment output? Full employment output means everybody in the economy is fully employed. Everybody has a job. Everybody is employed. So basically, classical economists believe that everybody in the economy is employed. Everybody has a job. And since everybody who is looking out for a job has a job, therefore everybody is already in the process of production. So you are already producing the maximum output possible. And this maximum output possible, this was known as the full employment output. So basically the full employment output is the output in which you're going ahead and you're producing the maximum possible output. And this is a state in which everybody has a job. There is nobody who is unemployed. And people who are unemployed are the people who are voluntarily unemployed. So they actually are unemployed because they don't want to work. Okay. Now, there were economists who existed before classical also. And those economists who existed before classicals, they were called as mercantilist economists. So mercantilism or mercantilist economists were basically considering two things. The first concept that they considered was called Bullionism. Now, what is Bullionism? Bullionism thought that this concept of Bullionism, that's the first ideology that they had, mercantilists had. And this ideology basically said that it was a belief that wealth and power of any nation were determined by the stock of previous metals. So basically, what were the previous metals, precious metals? So what were the precious metals that you had? You had gold, you had silver, etc. You had copper, etc. And they believed that the more the precious metals that you have, the more is the power of the nation. So more metals, more is the power of the nation. So basically, they believed that countries had secured more and more of metals in order to have more and more power. And how will they get these metals? They will get these metals only by exporting. So when I sell more, in return, I will get metals. When I buy less, I have to repay less metals. So when I do more exports, when I sell more to the outer world and I do less imports, then these two things together imply that there is increase in my metal collection. And when there will be increase in gold, when there will be increase in silver, that will automatically lead to foreign trade. So that, that will automatically lead to more wealth of the nation, more power of the nation. So this is the concept of bullionism. Now, let's see one more concept that they gave. So they said that state action was required, and it was required for the development of the capitalist system. See, if I want to do more exports and I want to reduce my imports, I need the involvement of the state to regulate this foreign trade. I need the involvement of the state to become self-reliant so that I have to do less imports. So I have to become self-reliant. And at the same time, to go ahead and to increase the amount of industries in my country. So to do these two things, we wanted to make sure that the government had regulated foreign trade. Now, once we had the role of the classicals coming into being, the classicals just went against this concept. So they said, no. Money has no role to play. We have to focus on real factors. We have to focus on concepts of real money. We have to focus on concept of real GDP, which means the output created. We have to focus on the real inflation. So everything in the real terms, right? Which means everything in purchasing power. So they believed on the role of the real factors and the belief in the efficacy of market, free market mechanism. So they said government role is very minimum. It is the free markets which have a role to play. So money played a role as a medium of exchange only, but they believed in something which is called neutrality of money, which is the focus of this chapter. We'll try and see that, money only affects prices, only affects inflation. Increase in money will lead to increase in prices. Growth of money is equal to inflation. But at the same time, it is not affecting any of the real variables like output, like employment. All these variables, they're getting unaffected, right? So mercantilists believed in the role of money in determining output and employment, because money was in form of these copper, gold, etc. So mercantilists believed that more the gold, more the wealth, more the output, more the job creation. But these classicals believed that more money, only more inflation, output already at full employment, everybody already employed in the economy. Employment already at full employment. So money can only affect nominal variables, not the real variables. We'll show this in this lecture. This chapter is about this only. And then they also said that government policies can only be for ensuring that demand is met. Unnecessary government intervention is not required.